Hi folks, welcome to another Life in the Tech Lane. I am ScubaSteveYT.
I'm Co-Hunter TV.
And today's subject is video game music. Now if you're wondering why are the two of us here in person before we dive into the subject, we're at a very special place.
Indeed we are.
We are at Microsoft UK headquarters.
Indeed.
Very, very special place.
We are being sacrilegious just now.
Hush.
Yes, it's okay, the door's shut. The door's not shut.
Yes.
Well, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
They make good tea. But let's not digress from the podcast.
Yes. Video game music.
Yes.
Video game music. The music music and sound effects in the video game, they make up the majority of, they're one of the three key elements of a video game.
Music makes or breaks a game for me.
You have the music and sound effects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have the graphics, and then you have the story.
The story's important.
The story is the biggest out of those three.
Yeah.
Video game music. What's your thoughts?
I find indie games can be better than actual commercial, properly industrialized games for music.
Yeah, indie games, they do have a certain
High-tech, well not high-tech,
they do have a certain feel to their soundtracks.
It feels like a CD like you bought from the shop.
No,
well, I mean,
it could be that. Or
Guild Wars 2, for example, is completely orchestrated.
Yeah.
And then you've got Cargo Commander, which is guitar and singing.
Yeah. You've also, there's one really good musician that comes to mind. He did the soundtracks for the majority of the Final Fantasy games. Nobuo Uematsu.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I've been wondering this for like 15 years.
Nobuo Uematsu.
Koji Kondo. He did the Mario soundtracks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two of them gods in their own right.
Indeed. What are your thoughts on older music? For example, Super Mario World for like the SNES compared to today's games of like Mass Effect.
It's older music for the video game industry it's held up a lot over the years. There's been many remakes of it. There's been many it's been mastered, remastered and remastered again. It's stood the test of time.
Oh yes, it has. But comparing today's music to the older music, I mean, would you say it's just as good or better, or is it like the 80s compared to now where it's not as good?
I'd say it's just as good.
Yes,
because it's more upbeat. Games back then in the 80s and 90s when they were coming into their stride. The
Tomb Raider, for example, that had a lot of orchestra in it.
Yeah, the music that was put into these games back then, I'm trying to think of the
unique.
right word. Yes, unique.
It
was that unique that it stood the test of time. And then current games such as the Mass Effect series, which has a terrific soundtrack.
He's hooked on this Mass Effect series. It has got a good soundtrack. I mean, I have read the soundtrack to Mass Effect. It's emotional.
It's emotional. It's extensive. Really, really deep.
So you get your games at Mass Effect where you've got your upbeat music, and then if you transition to, say, Guild Wars 2 where you've got your orchestra, what happens if you flip these and put upbeat in a game like Guild Wars 2?
It puts an entirely, for me that would put an entirely different view on the game.
Would it change the feel of the game though?
Yes, it would. It would change how you perceive the game. It would change how you play the game.
Yeah.
Because I can't really imagine playing. I'm thinking of being really stupid here and saying playing Just Dance. with an orchestra.
Guild Wars soundtrack.
With
The World of Warcraft theme to Just Dance. Yeah, no, that could.
That's just no. It just
no. But then, can you really say Just Dance has its own soundtrack to it?
No, because that's taking music from the charts.
Yes.
That's taking music that's been properly recorded and mixed and mastered
in a studio such as this one.
Yes.
This room has really good acoustics. Sorry, we're going off tangent for a second there, but no. If you saw a game today with 8-bit music, would it appeal to you?
Yes, it would. 8-bit music, it's always been. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for it.
Oh, you would. I mean, it's what you grew up with, isn't it? It's the 80s, 90s.
I'm a 90s guy.
Yeah.
I'm a 90s kid.
Chiptune.
Yes. I went through Pokemon with it. I went through Mario with it.
Zelda
as well.
I don't know if you did Zelda. Zelda was a good series.
Zelda, terrific. There's one particular game that I saw a friend of mine live stream months ago, and for the last week or so I've been trying to remember the name of it, but I have finally remembered the name.
Oh, good.
Evo Land.
I've never heard of that.
Evo Land is a game where it travels through kind of like the generations of the gaming industry, where you unlock better graphics, you unlock a better soundtrack.
This game
as you're progressing through a story.
This game sounds amazing. Is it free or is it costing?
I think you have to pay for it via Steam.
We'll check it out.
But yeah, and I believe it's what, $4 or £5.
Guys, Evo Land.
Yeah, Evo Land. It is a brilliant game.
Never played it myself, but it sounds, from what I'm hearing, it sounds epic.
Yeah. There's a lot of like fantasy. Like the fighting mechanic is fantasy RPG style, so kind of like it's kind of like the Final Fantasy series.
So I take it you start in a 2D and then you move to like a 3D.
Yes, you unlock better graphics, you unlock a better soundtrack. So you start off with like grayscale color, and then one of the unlockables could be two colors, like two-tone. Yeah. And then another unlock could be like
your 16-bit, and then you go to your 3D. Yeah. That sounds actually pretty fantastic.
And as I said, it's a similar concept with the soundtrack. You start off with like chiptune,
and then you move
into 16-bit, and then 32-bit.
This sounds pretty fantastic.
It's really, yeah.
Okay, so if we look at some of the games on Steam compared to their music you've got just now, they seem to be a lot of something that YouTube artists would come up with.
Yeah.
But for some reason they fit that game. But I think if a company, like a pro company, developed these games, it would not have the same music, and that might, I don't know, ruin the game completely for some people.
It could.
I mean, I don't know, because I mean, for me, music is right in there. I need it.
Well, for us both, we're both part of the sound industry. You've been in the past, and I am right now.
That is true.
So, yeah, music for us in video games, it plays a massive part in how we perceive them.
I mean, I played Warcraft once with the sound off. I fell asleep in half an hour.
Yeah.
So I turned on just the sound effects when you're walking and the fighting and that. It was actually more engaging. And then turn music on and then
it keeps you in the game. It keeps you focused.
I'd love to see a game with 3D music, like ASMR music and sound effects, with proper 3D binaural sounds. That'd be really. Yeah. Warcraft does it to a point to bring it back up. Actually.
Yeah, that would be really, really nice. I believe some games do that.
I mean, you've got the echo and reverb and that, but I'm talking proper. Someone's walking behind you can hear it behind you.
Aye, but it's like having like 5.1 surround sound.
I think Grand Theft Auto 5 does this, does it not?
It might.
Oh, you'd have to have a pretty good headset to test it.
I've not looked extensively into that.
No, near me near.
Because I've never picked up a copy of GTA 5. You can.
No.
You can.
I've not got it either.
You can nail me and martyr me.
I've not got it either. We've been rather busy actually over the past months organising this. So
organising this trip, yes.
But no, I mean, I heard that GTA 5 does have the 3D sound effects.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that just work with any headset or any headphones, or if you need a proper.
Actually, yeah, it does have the 3D effects. It's an option that you can turn on, I believe, and it's either an option that you can turn on and off, or it's a slider with a percentage meter.
Yeah.
Because I can go on to live streams and YouTube videos of people playing GTA 5 with a headset on, and yeah, I actually get the feeling of that 3D like sound, of that 3D bubble around me.
Although, having said that, that might make the game a bit too real. Example, Call of Duty. There's a guy behind you. You hear him.
What's the chances of you turning around in your seat instead of turning in game?
Well, not just that. Oh, I suppose it gives you an advantage. But then, if you have, for example, Call of Duty and you've got the 3D sounds as an option that's not enabled by default, would that not be giving some players an unfair advantage?
It could be.
That's one thing that's actually just cropped up in my head. That's quite interesting, actually.
Yeah. Games with music. Having a soundtrack, it's not just it's really nice to listen to it from a consumer point of view, but it's also nice to work on it from the other side.
Based on that point,
when you're
actually,
working with the game developers,
based on that point,
the music for that.
You've just raised a good point here. Would you say that the music helps to develop the story as it's unfolding?
Yes.
As in,
that's why you get certain musical cues whenever you're playing games, and you
like
get
a
to
dead scene,
certain,
or
when you get to a certain sequence or cutscene in the game, you have musical cues and certain tracks playing.
Yeah, although working on that is no easy feat.
It is definitely not.
I tried it once. I went to podcasting instead.
I know people who have tried it, and
hats off to them.
Yeah, one person succeeded.
Hats off to them.
He's actually a musician here on YouTube.
Who's this?
Ronald Jenkins.
Oh.
Yep. He's
shout out to Ronald Jenkins.
Yep. He's currently doing the soundtrack for a video game.
Do we know which one?
I can't mind the name of it. It's been months since I've heard from him.
No offense. In case he sees this,
it's been months since I've heard from him, but he
so
is
it's
working.
It's like a commercial game.
It's an indie game.
This is even better.
Yes.
Indie games bring so much to the gamer community these days.
Yeah. Like indie companies, when they go and make their games, they bring the gaming community closer together than what a major company could do.
Because you're doing it at a small scale. Yeah.
In some cases.
And also, if you're an indie developer solo, this can get you hired.
It can
legitimately get you hired.
It can. We were talking about this the other day about how a modder, just digressing quickly to the subject of modding. We were talking about mods for GTA 5, and I brought up
Skyrim.
Yeah, I brought up how there was one particular modder for Skyrim who he created basically an entire expansion to Skyrim, a new area, new characters, new skins, new items, new music to fit that place and the quests in that place. Bethesda hired him.
That's fantastic.
Bethesda gave him a job.
I researched this expansion, and if you can get hold of it, I'm not going to tell you how to get hold of it, but if you can get hold of it, I'd advise you try it.
Yeah, so definitely take Michael's advice there.
We can't give you any links on how to do it, but
modding isn't our forte.
That's not just that. I'm not too sure on the laws of it. I don't want to cause us any legal issues.
Yeah, it's actually one of the reasons why Steam went forward and then retracted very quickly with wanting to pay for mods.
Steam pay for mods?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was a very, very brief period of like 3 days or something, where Steam put up this option where you would pay to have mods for a game, and they tested it on Skyrim. Yes, the gaming community didn't take too well,
No.
and so Steam quickly retracted, and I quote, "We didn't know what we were doing."
There's that. Played the game last May, Antichamber. The soundtrack to that, all it is, the music. There's no sound effects. Well, I can't remember. Maybe the walking sound effect, but in terms of sound effects, there's nothing. The music is a series of whooshings. Just. Have you played Antichamber?
I've watched streamers play it.
It's it sounds simple to a soundtrack.
90% of the time when I'm watching live streams, I do wear a headset.
Yeah.
Because if there's any chance of having, of them having enabled the option, if the game has it, to have 3D sound, like surround sound, then
you get the
I
opportunity.
want to be able to experience that with the streamer.
Antichamber doesn't really have 3D sound, but the whooshings are fantastic. That's what a soundtrack is. I mean, it sounds simple. It sounds stupid.
It's incredibly simple, but it's so
immersive.
It pulls you into the game and it keeps you focused on the game.
It reminds me a bit of Portal 2, actually. In Portal, the soundtracks to that were quite simple as well, I believe.
Yeah.
Portal only had Portal had the music at the start when you're in the test chamber, the first test chamber you're confined in, and I think after that was it.
Yeah.
Really, there's no music to it. I mean, music in video games isn't just limited to the music, really. It's limited. It's sound effects and
you're adding in sound effects to cue up with what the environment is,
what's happening,
what your character is doing. It's really incredibly. It really keeps you entertained.
Oh yeah.
It really keeps you in the game.
Well, that is sadly all we have time for in this week's podcast. We actually have got to attend a meeting, so we will get back to you in a fortnight with episode 3, where we talk about Adobe and their software. Thanks for watching. Corner TV. Peace out.
Peace.